If you're someone who ships rocks in bulk, then I might have a tip or trick that can help you save half on your shipping costs for some of your shipments. Hello there, this is Fred of Just One More Rock. Thanks for joining me in my home. This evening, I'm going to try to share a little bit of knowledge I have from someone who's been shipping fragile items around the world for about 12 years now. With these tips, I'm hoping I can save you a little bit of money because a lot of people in our community, the rockhounding creator community and viewers, share their rocks. We collect them here and there. We like what we have. We like what they have. They like what we have. So they keep bouncing around. And while I've gotten a couple of these shipments, and bless you, thank you all for sending me stuff, and they have been packed well, they all made it to me, there is a thing or two that you could do, possibly, to save on some of those shipments. And if I've got knowledge, and you can use it, then I'm here to share. Sharing the love, sharing the experience, sharing the knowledge. So rather than me keep talking, let's get to it. By the time you're watching this, I've probably already cut these in a reveal video linked at the end where Nic from City Rockhounding hooked me up with all these beautiful rocks. And he did a great job. He shipped them in a medium flat rate box. But we're going to see if we could have saved him money and try to get it into this one. You know, to keep everything easy, medium flat rate box, about $20. Padded flat rate envelope, about $10. Could have cut his prices in half. Can we do it? Let's give it a try. The great thing about the USPS priority flat rate packages is that if it fits, it ships. So as long as you can seal a package, and we're specifically talking about these padded envelopes, as long as you can give that a good seal there, then you can ship it. I used to ship 30 pounds of solder in these bags like that. Saved me a lot of money. Okay. Now that also means that, let's say you had a box, it would cost you $15 to ship that because of its weight. If you can fit it in here and seal it, like I said, properly, then you can ship it for $10 instead. Save you a little bit of money, right? Right. Now I will say 90-degree boxes are harder to get in there, especially if it's a really thick box. But we're not dealing with that today. We're dealing with rocks, right? Right. Let's go. I've destroyed a perfectly good box over there to show you two methods of how to try to get this bunch of rocks into this envelope. Now, of course, anyone's shipment is subject to the quantity of rocks you have and how big they are. But for this particular batch, I think this could work. Let's get to it. Now, as we start this, I'm going to say that Nic did a great job of putting these in bags and taping them up to keep them tight. One of the first things about shipping stuff, whether it be rocks or porcelain around the world, is that if you can keep your multiple items bundled tight, then it shifts in a box maybe like that. If you have different pieces here, then they clack, smash, things break. Not good. So he did a great job bundling these up. Not only do they keep them organized, but they did keep them tight. But we're going to modify this a little bit and we're going to rebag them and see if we can make it work. All right, so we've rebagged these. I've took a second outside of camera just to push some of the air out of them to keep them from being bulky. And my intention here is keeping everything flat as I can. So that's why we doubled up on some of these. This one rock can be separate and just labeled just the same as this, just like I did here and here, rather than maxing out the bag. And so we're going to move on to our next step. All right, so what we're going to do here is roll them up tight. Make sure everything is laid flat. Do something like this, and this will help push some of the air out, right? Let's lay that there. Whatever you're used to rolling, just kind of do it like that. All right, so you got some air in there. Let's push that out in a proper way. Sorry about that. Just being silly. You know me, guys. All right, so let's do this. time for some tape. What I do with my scissors. Yeah, and a lot of people like tape guns, and you might go, why are you not using a tape gun if you're taping and shipping stuff all over? Yeah, I hate tape guns. Used to work in a warehouse, and it just always annoyed me. So I just take my roll, stick it to the table, cut a piece of tape off, and move on. So we're going to tighten that up like that. All right, got a nice little burrito right there, right? Next one. All right, so we're going to do the rest of these, and we'll just speed that up. I'm going to take a second to go crazy local on the tape, and I'll be right back. All right, now that we got them all bundled and taped up nice and solid, right? Nothing's moving inside there. You can go crazy on the tape and just lock it into one big stone almost, right? Okay, so our options now are basically layering these between, and we'll see if this will even work on this particular shipment. Layering those like that. Possibly like this and like that. And then checking to see if that bundle would work, right? That looks pretty thick. I don't see it happening. So again, a lot of this is dependent on the type of shipment and how they bundled up together. This always could have looked different depending on what you choose to bundle up. But in this case, I'm thinking if I went with that method of layering something like that and then taping it all together and trying to shove it into that envelope, that one's not going to work. But that is a particular method. I do that with a lot of things. In fact, you can even get away with breakables if you do it right. I don't do it that often. I like boxes for that, but still, it's possible. Now, I'm going to show you the other method. Probably going to work best for this. We're going to maximize that envelope. So you can see now it'll fit within the size of the envelope. Right? This is what we need to do now. We're going to turn this into a tube. So basically we're trying to break some of the corrugation down so that we can put it as a sleeve inside of this envelope. So I'm just going to roll this all the way out, and then we'll figure out how much we need in a moment. All right. So what do we got? We're going to need its length times 2, or its width times 2. So then I'm going to come over here and cut. I want a little bit over so I can tape it. You know what? I'm going to lose it right there. And none of this has to be perfection. Just getting the job done. That's it. So we got our tube, and we're going to fit it in the envelope. Open it out. I'm just kind of pulling it out, try to maximize my space in the envelope. Okay. Now it is able to close, but if we're going to maximize this space here and really bulk it out, I think I'm going to, okay, going to trim this part off here, tape it, and then cut a couple slits here so that I can fold it in on both sides, and that'll help us close the package. As I'm preparing to tape this, I want to say that this is not a rich man's process. If you have more money than time, then this is a waste of your time, and just spend the more money on the box because it's easier. But if you're like the rest of us, struggling to keep things going sometimes, well, you do what you got to do to save a few bucks. And that's what we're doing. Okay, so after I'm done picking up my scissors, Just going to cut a slit here. Doesn't matter how far. You can adjust if you need to. Just at the corner points. Because, you know what? We're going to go right here too. Forgot about that part. Okay. The reason why we did that is because first, before we even put it in, we're going to do this. That's going to go into the bottom. Kind of creates a base and is going to allow me to put the box deeper into the package and be able to close it. So we're going to do that. Push that around down there, right? Now I could have taped it, and I probably should have, but I'm going to keep rolling with it. Okay, and then we're going to bend these sides in just to get them moving before I finish the packing. All right. Does it seem impossible? We'll be able to get all that stuff in there. Let's try. All right. Let's see if we can make this happen. We'll start with, what's the biggest one? Yeah, let's start with this biggest one. Get that down at the base. I'm talking about base. We got this little one, but I think it can kind of fit right on top back there to push that. Yeah, that's good down there. All right, what's the next one? Let's go with sitting that one. You know, and it's a puzzle. You might have to do this a couple times actually to kind of figure out which way it's going to fit the best. That's not going to work for me. See, that would be too high. I wouldn't be able to close it. So I definitely have to hit the side angle. So what I'm going to do, we're going to pull that one back out. And like I said, if you have the money to go with the big box, go with the big box. Save yourself the time and hassle of doing what I'm trying to show you right here. Because you got all the money you want. Alright. We got this one more. I think it can go in there. If I would have packaged that slightly different, it might have. Ooh, we're close. So what does that mean? We're that close. I think at this point, we're going to change something up. Because this is the reality of doing what we're going to try to do. That is packed in there nicely. These two bundles are so close. I'm going to break these down. I'm going to wrap them up in their individual little bags. Let's go. So here we are again, right? I went ahead and spared you the hassle, but I bundled these up individually, broke them down and taped them. What did that afford us? More flexibility, right? Smaller pieces, we can fit in there without losing gaps of air that are just wasted space. So I will admit that while I've shipped thousands of items across the US and across the world, I've never packed and shipped rocks. So this is an absolute first. And you're running the journey with me. So let's see what happens. Last step. All right. Well, now that we broke these down and rebundled them, we're going to try it again. But with different size pieces, we have to start the Tetris all over again, right? Okay, so the last step is to tape it to reinforce it. You can look it up, and it says that it is okay to do that as long as it doesn't change the the integrity of the package, the way it's supposed to look, right? So there we have it. A seriously maxed out flat rate envelope. But it fits, it seals, and they'll accept that. Well, I hope the information I brought you today is useful, and I sure hope it saves us money in the future. You know, because the less money that goes out means the more money that's in our wallet, and we all want that. And I'll always say it, you're welcome in my home all the time, and thanks for joining me. And remember, when you think it's time to go, there's always just one more rock. Take care, everyone.